When President Ruto was elected and sworn in on 13th of September 2022, the economy of Kenya was in very bad shape. Many people, especially those who are in Azimio and other groups, they think when we say the economy was bad, we are trying to attack the previous administration. It is not true. The economy was doing badly because for 1.5 years, the entire country and its economic activity was shut down because of COVID-19. That is what destroyed our economy. Ile COVID, kwa sababu tulifungiwa kwa nyumba mwaka na nusu, karibu miaka miwili. Si ni kweli? Hakuna biashara inaendelea. There is no business. Hotels were closed. Transportation came to a halt. Nobody is working, so there is no productivity. So that is what destroyed our economy. By the time President Ruto was taking over, 1 shilling was exchanging at 165, 167 to the dollar. And it was losing value every day. Food prices were increasing every day. Unga hii ya ugali, 2 kilos ilikuwa 250, 260, 240. And if food prices are high, that's a major political and economic crisis. That's why our friends in Azimio were doing those demonstrations about unga. Because food, if people cannot get food at affordable prices, it becomes a political and economic issue. For the last 2 years, President Ruto has worked extremely hard to turn around the fundamentals of macroeconomic stability, in the sense that the broad economic variables that influence the cost of living, which were going haywire, are moderated today and they are under control. Let me explain. Unajua mtu akitoka pale Nkobo ama pale Maua ama Betunguu ama Charia ama Kerua, atauliza sasa mambo ya dola inahusu mimi nini? How does the dollar or the strength of the shilling, what is the connection between the strength of the shilling and myself? Ile vitu watu yetu wananunua pale Meru Town, most of those items kwa maduka ya Wahindi, they are imported products from abroad. The people who import those products import them using foreign exchange, mainly the dollar. If the shilling is weak, the person bringing those items will use more Kenya shillings to import 1 container. And therefore the price of those items to our people will be very high. If the shilling is strong, to import 1 container, you'll need less shillings per dollar, the prices will be moderated. That is the connection between the common mwananchi and the strength of the currency. If the shilling is strong, the shilling will have more purchasing power, and the products that are required in our household will cost less. Today, the shilling, which was exchanging at 167 against the dollar, is at 127, 128. Today, the price of unga, 2 kilos, which was 230, 240, 250, 260, is somewhere between 100, 110, 120. Today, the inflation the escalation of prices of essential commodities, which was at 9.6% monthly, is now 3%, 2.9%, 2.7%. Interest rates for our business people. Najua ule mtu ako na kabiashara kake somewhere hapo Meru, ameajiri watu watatu wanne. They need affordable credit to expand their micro or small business so that they can employ a few more people. Interest rates were very high. You have seen today interest rates in the commercial banks have started coming down. All those interventions, reducing interest rates, reducing inflation, strengthening the shilling, reducing food prices, has not happened by guesswork. It has happened by hard work of President Ruto and his administration. Very painful decisions we had to make. So the revenue we were collecting, we were applying it to stabilize food prices, to stabilize fuel prices. Remember, fuel prices had gone up to $2.17 a liter. And today now it is in the region of 165, 167. So that is what has taken our 2 years. Heavy lifting, hard decisions. And today, what remains now for the remainder of the term, 2.5 years now, is now to build on that strong foundation of a strong macroeconomic performance to roll out programs and projects that will easily now increase the amount of money in the pocket of the individual. Hiyo ndio biashara tumebaki nayo. Si tulisema pesa mfukoni. But you cannot have programs for increasing household incomes when inflation is escalating, when the shilling, the currency is weakening, when interest rates are high, when food prices are high. Therefore, most of the money went into subsidized fertilizer. And today, for the first time in 16 years, Kenya will not import even 1 bag of maize. When we came into office in 2022, we had to give permits for importing 10 million bags of maize. The second year, the amount of imports went down to around 7 million. This year, we will import 0 bags of maize. Subsidized fertilizer, other interventions to strengthen that value chain, and we are doing that for other value chains. So that is what has occupied us for the last 2 years. But you see, we didn't have this forum to explain to the people what we are doing. And that's why government was getting the bashing it was getting. And some other characters who are opposed to this administration who are busy poisoning the public, telling them this government is doing nothing. Because unless you handle macroeconomic factors, it's like building a house. You must first dig the foundation, and then you start building upwards. So those interventions were necessary. It is unlikely that fuel prices will increase again in the near future. It is very unlikely. Small adjustments, but nothing to worry about. Today, we are not going to import sugar. If we imported the sugar, it will be less than 100 metric tons, 100,000 metric tons, because our consumption is about 1 million metric tons, and we are producing we have now produced over 900 metric tons. The gap is very small. For the first time in 22 years, Kenya will not import sugar. And you've seen the rating agencies, which are run by foreign governments. They have been very hostile. They have never rated Kenya positively for the last 15 years. For the first time, they said the economy of Kenya is looking upwards. 2 months ago. Actually, 1 month ago. So that is what we've been doing. Going forward, we must now add money to the pockets of Kenyans. How? How? What are the priorities? Our priorities are in 5 pillars, and I've already disposed the first pillar, macroeconomic stability. The first pillar of this government is to ensure the prices of essential commodities, the prices of fuel, the prices of basic household items do not keep on escalating, interest rates decrease, inflation also is under control, and the Kenyan shilling, our currency, remains strong. Because if there is a reversal on those indicators, we'll go back to where we were in 2022. Mafuta ikipanda tena, unga ikipanda, bei ya bidhaa muhimu ikipanda, tutarudi mahali tulikuwa. So we are keeping an eye on macroeconomic stability to make sure that there is no reversal of the gains made so far. Na hii interest rate umeona Equity Bank, Coop Bank, KCB, they have reduced interest rates by between 2 and 3%. Next month, it will come down again. The central bank, this interest rate is controlled by the central bank lending rates. Banks were not lending businesses money because government was borrowing that money. Now we are not borrowing that money. So the banks will be forced to come and look for customers to give credit, the way it was in the first years of Mwai Kibaki's administration. So that's what we are doing, macroeconomic stability. Number 2, because I said there are 5 pillars, it is working on the value chains, the production, marketing of the value chains where the majority of the people of Kenya derive their daily income. Where do the people of Kenya get their daily income from? Agriculture. Somebody is either a farmer, livestock. They keep livestock either for meat or dairy. In some counties, they are fisher folk. They are fisher people, fishermen. The blue economy, the fisheries, and the economy of Kenya, about 80% of the people, they derive directly their income from those very primary sectors: agriculture, livestock, fisheries, and perhaps mining activities. We call it the primary sector. So we have spent the last 2 years, and we are going to spend the next 2.5 years increasing the value and the income of our agricultural production. And that's where Meru County comes in, because Meru County is largely an agriculture county. In 2022, the country earned 158 billion shillings foreign exchange from tea. In 2022, the country earned 158, thereabouts, billion shillings from the sale of tea. In 2023, the figure rose from 158 billion to 181 billion. In 2024, the figure rose again from 181 billion to 211 billion. That is tea. Coffee. In 2022, the sale at the coffee exchange, commodity exchange, are 50 bag of cherry. The average price in 2022, a bag of cherry was in the average of $160 per bag. That figure rose in 2023 from